What's the link? Oh, I don't need to log on. No, I don't need to. Okay. Oh, Chris. Yay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the Public Arts Commission meeting for the City of Palm Springs on Wednesday, October 18th, 2003 at 5:30 p.m. Jay, can we do roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Burns,
Present.
Commissioner Thomas Favreau,
Here.
Commissioner Shelton. Excused. Commissioner Silvera,
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Present.
Vice Chair Newkirk,
Here.
Chair Armstrong.
Here.
We have quorum.
Great, excellent. I'd like to make a motion for change on the agenda. And I will be moving the remarks from the chair to before public comments. Are there any other changes needed on the agenda? Can I get a motion to accept the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with that change.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice to see a full house. I'm glad everybody's here to discuss the inventory of our public art. The Palm Springs Public Arts Commission acknowledges and respects the concerns expressed by some members of the community regarding the privately commissioned AIDS memorial created by artist Philip K. Smith. Art, especially that which commemorates a significant issue like the AIDS epidemic, holds a deep emotional and cultural significance for many individuals. And it is only natural that people want to ensure it reflects the diverse experiences and perspectives of those affected by the disease, which of course creates strong feelings about the chosen artist and the design. I've tangentially been following this situation online. Some of the issues raised I agree with, and others I disagree with. But I will state that most of the comments that have come directly to me have been supportive of the installation, or even if they didn't love the design, they felt that the piece was thoughtful and reflective and respected the artist's intentions. Public art, by its nature, often leads to diverse opinions and interpretations, and the Public Arts Commission appreciates the diverse voices within the community. Rather than focusing on the surrounding narrative with this controversy, I'd prefer to discuss the facts and misunderstandings about the approval process for this installation. While some may have reservations about the chosen artist and design, it is important to remember that art often encourages dialogue, interpretation, and this potential AIDS memorial is a gift to the entire city, reflecting the values and perspective of its benefactors. While public art can hold profound cultural and social importance, it also allows for a degree of artistic freedom and expression. As a commission, we have a responsibility to ensure that public art installations align with the community's values and sensitivities, but we also respect the autonomy of private donors in choosing the artist and design they believe best represents their intentions and vision. It is essential to remember that this AIDS memorial is a privately funded project, generously donated to the city by a group of Palm Springs residents who genuinely care about the cause. Over 400 individual donations from Palm Springs residents will make this gift possible. This was not something that the city commissioned, and this money is not fungible to another artist or another task force. The acceptance of such donations and gifts for public art installations is a common practice, and the commission's role is to ensure that art contributes positively to the city's cultural landscape and represents its citizenry. While the design and choice of artists may not align with the preferences of some community members, the artist's sexuality should not be a determining factor for acceptance. The Public Arts Commission believes that artists have the capacity to create pieces that transcend their personal identities and experiences. It's crucial to remember that artist sexual orientation does not diminish the intention or meaning of the memorial, which is to honor those affected by AIDS and to create a space for reflection and remembrance in a public park for all members of the community to benefit from. There are three ways to add to the city's public art collection. We either commission a new piece, purchase an existing piece directly from an artist, or an arts benefactor offers to donate something to the city. When that happens, we make a recommendation that council either accepts or denies the donation. The public timeline for this project, and all of this is available on the city website, is as follows. On December 16th, 2020, the task force presented the idea of the memorial to the Arts Commission. On June 16th, 2021, the artist and a sketch of the concept were approved by the Arts Commission for presentation to council. July 26, 2021, a presentation of the concept was given to the Parks Commission. September 30th, 2021, final acceptance by City Council. The decision to accept the gift is a testament to the city's commitment to commemorating an important aspect of its history, and the intention is to provide a space for reflection, remembrance, and healing. And I can't assume that everyone follows every project in City Hall, but from November 2021 to November 2022, there were 5 articles about the project in the Desert Sun, 4 in the Palm Springs Post, a write-up in DAP magazine, as well as 2 pieces on KESQ. And it's important to note that in March of 2021, DAP came on board with the installation to become the fiscal agent, accepting donations and issuing tax receipts. It's simply untrue to state that the memorial was kept behind gated communities at big donor events. At our last meeting, Philip K. Smith spoke and profoundly apologized for any misinterpretation of the design. He said, and I quote, "It was never our intent to offend anyone." Quote, "Please know that your voice has been heard and we have already been working on new iterations of the memorial sculpture, and we look forward to sharing the next iteration with the community later this year." The artist's comments were reported both in the Desert Sun and the Palm Springs Post and were shared widely online. I repeat, the piece, which has been widely discussed, is not happening in that form. It will not be constructed. It will never exist. When the benefactors are ready to show their new design with the community, the Arts Commission will be reviewing it right at an upcoming meeting. Until that point, there are no actions for us to take. Were mistakes made on both sides? Probably. Were they intentional? Maybe I'm naive, but I don't think so. One thing we all have in common is a love for the city and a desire to respect and honor those who were lost by a horrible disease. Those are 2 pretty solid and admirable bonds, and I think they're strong enough to carry us forward. It's today's commission's hope that in time, this memorial, in whatever form it takes, will become a symbol of unity, honoring the memory of those affected by AIDS while promoting dialogue and understanding within our city. It's important to remember that the acceptance of this gift does not negate the possibility of future projects that may expand the diverse voices and experiences of the LGBTQ+ community. The Commission remains open to further discussions and collaborations that ensure the city's public art reflects the city's rich cultural tapestry of its residents and their stories. The Public Arts Commission remains committed to facilitating dialogue and understanding among all residents to foster a sense of unity and shared purpose in Palm Springs. Thank you again for your comments and interest in public art, and we hope to see you all at future meetings. Jay, are there any public comments?
Yes, I believe we have some public comments, Mr. Chair. For those of you who would like to speak, why don't we have you stand on this side over here, maybe a line of 3 at first, so you can still remain seated if you like. And then we'll just call you up and ask you to turn on the microphone and speak to the microphone. And please let us know your name, and the spelling of your name would also be helpful. And feel free to enter the queue as if you decide you do want to speak. First speaker, please.
Thank you.
Afternoon. Is it okay? Yes, sir. My name is Raymond Fleur. I'm a retired Fortune 500 company executive. More importantly, I'm the administrator for the Palm Springs largest social media group for gay men and most active group in the entire area, with 13,000 members. In that role, it's become clear to me that the issues surrounding the AIDS Memorial are very important to my community of gay men. I'd like to share what's obvious to me, the overwhelmingly dominant views of the group on the proposed memorial. More than 90% reject the current memorial design and find it offensive. These numbers include voices of some of our well-known advocates, national advocates. Cleve Jones, founder of the AIDS Project and AIDS Memorial Quilt, said, "My friends in Palm Springs, what are you thinking?" Dan Savage, founder of the National It Gets Better campaign, and Trent Straub, deputy editor of Paz Magazine. We believe the artist's description of the work is strained and bears no relationship to HIV/AIDS. It fails to understand or appreciate the real horrors, the tremendous loss, the despair, the hopelessness, and complete social rejection we suffered in those many years. They believe the design actually does the opposite and invites mockery and derision, as many of you have seen on national social media. And not just from the right wing and our detractors, but from our own LGBT organizations. We deserve better. We're asking the commission to consider two things. Vote to rescind its approval of the current design and request the city council put a hold on the commitment of public land and public funds being committed to this project. This commission should require a more demanding process for approving art which is to be designated as a public monument or a memorial. Specifically, rigorous public outreach should be mandatory for a memorial. The revised process should be put in place before any proposed design revisions come forward. In an email response to several members of my group, the mayor pro tem made an excellent point. The way we come together is through dialogue. I couldn't agree more. Beyond fundraisers, there has been no public outreach or dialogue. Two members of the city council are under the impression that the design has been available to the public for public review and comment for 8 years. The artist himself said that at this meeting last month. That is false and inaccurate. The first webpage to exist was late 2021 on the DAP website. The task force website did not appear until mid-2022, and their Facebook page was not created until just this past summer. And that page does not allow comments. We want an open and public dialogue with the AIDS Memorial Task Force, rather than this awkward approach of talking to them through you. Ridiculous. There needs to be a dialogue. We don't understand why they refuse. I hope you listen to our group members speaking today with open hearts, open minds, and understanding and appreciation, sensitivity and compassion for their own experiences and why this is important to them. Thank you for your time.
Sir, and let you know, speakers' time will be 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is 3 minutes or less. My name is Danny Goldstein. I've been living with HIV for over 40 years. I was in my 20s and everyone in my world was dying. The grief of this plague will be with me forever. It's in me right here and right now that I sit at this table. Back then, people living with HIV were not being heard. I'm here and I'm here to be heard today. I moved to Palm Springs because of the welcoming LGBTQ and ally community here. Excellent access to HIV healthcare. I also came because Palm Springs has the largest population of long-term HIV survivors per capita than anywhere else in this country. Palm Springs is related completely to AIDS and LGBT people. It's a major portion of the entire makeup of this community. And I'm grateful to the AIDS Memorial Task Force for taking on this challenging work, creating an AIDS memorial. Unfortunately, what the task force presented us was a work of art. I'm concerned that at least the former Arts Commission approved something that has actually become a national embarrassment. Whether it ran in the newspaper in the Desert Sun, it doesn't matter. When the public found out about it, when they did the Arenas event and it became very public and then national, we had national comments. So your comments, wonderful, you attract a certain crowd of people, I'm sure. What do you think thousands of people thought of this? And that is, so it doesn't matter how long it's known, this is the current viewpoint. Public comment on one side of the piece offensive and the other side meaningless, eliciting no emotion. In fact, a viewer would have to read a 4-paragraph explanation by the artist to understand its symbolism. The great news is the new Public Arts Commission has another opportunity to review revised art. This time, the commission will have the benefit of knowing the public reaction while you have reevaluated it. The entire country now awaits your decision. I asked the Public Arts Commission to review the revised art as a memorial, not as public art. Also, there needs to be a very strong effort established right now to collect public input on this new piece. The task force, the Arts Commission and the community know how important public feedback is to this process. We must specifically include the voices of people living with HIV/AIDS. We must add our allies. Only with this community input can anyone or the Arts Commission make the best informed decision on whether this revised art achieves its status of an AIDS memorial. Without words, a memorial must connect us deeply with ourselves and with whom we are grieving. Most of us will be gone in 20 years. Although grateful to them, this is not the AIDS Task Force AIDS Memorial, it's the Palm Springs Community AIDS Memorial. This piece belongs perfectly in an art museum where people learn about art, not pretending to memorialize AIDS in a public park. I trust the Public Arts Commission to do the right thing. Finally, art is in the eye of the beholder. However, a memorial is in the heart of the viewer.
State the name.
Good afternoon, my name is Mitchell Battersby. I'm the Director of Volunteers for Palm Springs Pride, and I also sit on the Board of Directors of Village Fest. I've looked over Mr. Smith's work and I find it quite delightful and beautiful, but I'm here tonight to share my thoughts about the proposed memorial at the downtown park as a 40-year survivor of AIDS and share my perspective on this matter. I'm concerned about how the current design of the memorial, which I can best describe as a big concrete donut, may not effectively convey the loss, pain, suffering, and devastating effects that AIDS has had on the LGBTQ+ community. Survivors like myself should have input into the memorial as it is a representation of our shared experiences. It is essential for the Art Commission to consider the viewpoints and input of survivors when creating a memorial that truly reflects their experiences. By including their voices, the final memorial design has a better chance of authentically representing the struggles, resilience, and spirit of our survivor community. I'm encouraging you to actively engage with the survivors so we can share our ideas and suggestions for the memorial's design. My personal journey and perspective as a 40-year survivor, along with so many others, could surely contribute to a more meaningful and inclusive representation of the memorial and our community as a whole. Input from survivors is valuable, and it's important for the Art Commission to recognize that. I hope my suggestions will be taken into account, ultimately leading to a memorial that resonates with everyone touched by the AIDS epidemic. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Nelson Gonzalez. I am an architect, an artist, and have experience in the design of public spaces, memorials, and art exhibitions. Having worked with some of the most recognized artists of our time, such as Martin Creed, Wolfgang Tillmans, Marcel Odenbach, Theo Jansen, among others. The purpose of a memorial is to remember, and in the act of remembering, to raise awareness, so that the conditions that caused an atrocious event, such as in this case a plague, are not repeated. A memorial must touch the souls of visitors, and although it may seem like a difficult task, history shows us examples where this goal has been successfully achieved, such as the AIDS Memorial Quilt, which was first exhibited 36 years ago, and is probably the most important AIDS memorial in the world, and was made not by an artist, but by a community. The design of an AIDS memorial in the city of Palm Springs cannot be taken lightly. It must be the result not only of great sensitivity, but also of arduous research and a strategy that includes the participation of survivors and relatives. This is not a whimsical request, but a contemporary way of creating that is celebrated at the highest level of design, such as, for example, the most important recognition in architecture worldwide, the 2016 Pritzker Prize, which was awarded to architect Alejandro Aravena, whose buildings provide a concrete frame and basic services for families to fill the gaps with their own aesthetics in an act in which the creator gives his power to the community. I have reviewed the work of the artist who designed the proposal in question. I find his work impeccable, pristine, cool, and trendy. I also find a recurring shape in many of his works that can be described as a wheel or a donut. Imposing a shape of personal preference and adding content to it to bring the object closer to the purpose of the project is the opposite of what should be done here, and is an invalid act that underestimates a sensitive and informed audience. I see art as the last frontier of humanity, the tool to preserve the qualities that distinguish our species, the wall against which greed, selfishness, and spiritual emptiness collide. As an architect, gay, and HIV positive, I find this proposal inadequate and propose that the choice of the final design be the result of a democratic and transparent process, since its construction will partially use public funds and public land, which belong to all citizens. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Clay Sales. I'd like to preface my remarks by saying that I'm here today to ask you to change your mind. And I know that's hard. But this is important enough that we've got a room full of people here who are united together and making that request. Why? Because this matters. Although I am an artist and an art collector myself, I am not here as an art critic. I have my opinions about the merits of this design, but public art is a realm all its own, and I get that it requires a lot of specialized knowledge. However, given that half the men I have ever known are dead from the AIDS epidemic, I am qualified to talk about an AIDS memorial. Memorial art is public art with a purpose, and that purpose is what sets it apart from art for art's sake. Memorial art should elicit an immediate response on its subject. Emotion and memory, storytelling and learning. These are what memorials are designed to elicit. This is not the place for over-intellectualized symbolism. Although statuary has been the classic choice for memorials, the Vietnam War Memorial's design proved that abstract designs can have just as much power if selected and executed with empathy for the subject. The one reaction you shouldn't have is confusion. If you're going to be abstract, don't be obtuse. The only person who looks at this design and sees an AIDS memorial is the artist himself. And quite frankly, his artist statement is really strained. As I've said before on camera, this seems like a piece of art looking for a purpose instead of what it should be the other way around. Everybody else who looks at this design either sees a donut or something that has already become a national laughingstock. Listen, if what you want is a piece of this artist's work in the public collection as a piece of art, then by all means go ahead and pursue it. Like I said, I'm not here as an art critic. However, please don't try to make this an AIDS memorial. It clearly isn't, and this design never will be. Palm Springs, with its unique place in the story of the AIDS crisis, has to get this right. Thank you.
Just to note, Commissioner Feldman has joined me.
Oh, thank you.
You ready? My name is Ron Withrow. I have listened to everything you said, everything folks before me have said. I am one of the creators of the Darcel 15 Oregon AIDS Memorial. I spent 7 years of my life with a team of people creating that memorial that was unveiled in August of 2016. We opened it to artists from all over to give renderings. We listened and learned from the community. We made a lot of mistakes. We learned a lot of things. But the most important thing was we listened and opened our hearts and our minds to the community. This is important to me. I worked in a gay bar and restaurant in the 80s and 90s. I lost my 5 best friends in 1990. My husband became HIV positive in 91. My husband and I did flowers for over 100 funerals at our bar. This memorial that we created in Oregon, along with San Francisco, LA, New York, Key West, Vancouver, they were all done by the community. Every one of us has a story personal to us about partners lost, family members lost, friends lost. Like he said before me, I lost over half of all my friends. This needs to be something, hopefully, that can be addressed to all of us, all of you included, to have an idea of what the community wants. I think it's phenomenal that these gentlemen want to give a piece of art to the city, but please don't call it an AIDS memorial. I don't have an opinion one way or the other about the sculpture, though it's the laughingstock of the country. Do we really want, where we have one of the largest gay populations in the country, to be a laughingstock because somebody didn't listen to the community? You know by your positions of what you do, community input is very, very important. And all we're asking for is for us all to be heard of. If these gentlemen want to donate a piece of art to the community, fantastic. But an AIDS memorial should be the gift of all of us giving. I mean, when our Oregon AIDS Memorial was started, we had to go through all the work of getting 501c3, getting a business plan, doing all of that before we asked for one donation. And we learned through listening. So that's all I'm asking for you, the council, for these gentlemen with the sculpture. Please listen to us and hear some of our stories. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Musaf Suleiman, and I wanted to go back because I know that there are others who have experienced greater loss, experienced the actual academic era, great trauma that I cannot personally relate to, but I am here for one reason and one reason only. All the individuals that are no longer here, that can't speak for themselves, that did speak for individuals and next generations like myself, I am here to speak on their behalf. They paved paths and fought great resistance, and were often, many times, especially during the epidemic, ignored, which almost seems as if the context that I have seen online is similar today with this very memorial about a very tragic and horrible epidemic that has taken the lives of millions of people. Today, when I was driving around, I thought, how can I show up this meeting? I feel like it's not my place. I then got emotional and I overwhelmingly started crying in my car because I felt that I needed to show up because there are people that legitimately can't speak for themselves. I knew Palm Springs, I've been here for maybe 2 years. This has been the best city that I've ever lived in my entire life. I only learned of Palm Springs through learning about the history of the epidemic and learning about what Palm Springs meant to gay men decades ago. Seeing the outrage that is poured out on the platforms, as Raymond indicated, there are a lot of people that are upset with this. And hopefully after today, especially after the great wisdom, emotion, and experiences and stories that we just heard, including many others, and hopefully a comment page that should be added. Hopefully you will take that into consideration because dialogue and communication is where all of us can grow. I want to keep this short, but obviously I just want to share with those that are on Zoom, there is a full room here. We had to set extra chairs down. And there's obviously a Zoom, there's clearly a lot of people who have an issue with this. I personally, if I were to have company or visitors visit, I would walk and literally ensure we take the opposite path of that actual, I can't call it a memorial. It may be a great art piece, but as many articulated, I cannot see it. I aligned with an epidemic and death. It doesn't give me any feel, and clearly it obviously touches other people in a very serious emotional way. People's feelings should be considered, and hopefully all councils and leadership, local leaders get involved so that you take your community into consideration, because isn't this something about the loss of many in the community? I'm just hoping that there's a positive income and that there is no relation to anything that resembles the similar art piece that I can't consider a memorial. I'm sure there's something better out there. Hopefully you all will veto the current or anything remotely close to that out of the vision. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Esther. I'm here on behalf of my emotions and the people I've lost. I'm here for Don Landy, Howard Wexler, Greg Trouth. I'm here for my late husband, Dwayne Ayton. I've never spoken publicly like this. But this memorial is not a memorial. As my friend Danny said, it's a piece of art. It's beautiful, but it's not a memory for me. I'm here because my partner, Dwayne, and many of the people in this room are not only survivors as I am, I'm an AIDS survivor, but we've contributed tremendously to keeping people alive. My late husband worked for Project Inform with Martin Delaney. He studied cell biology. He picked up the phone and he called people and said, this is the medication you can take to stay alive, because if you don't, you're going to die. I was in part of the OMN study of AZT. I have lipodystrophy, which is a redistribution of fat in my body. I live with that reminder every day. When I go to when I see art, I want it to mean something to me. I want it to mean something to my late husband. He was an artist. He was a designer. He taught at the College of Marin. He inspired. And right now, he's looking down and he's saying, I'm here for him. He's saying, don't let this happen. This is not a memorial. The memorial here is the emotions and the memories of the people that are here tonight. It's not a piece of concrete. It's not a donut. It has to represent our memories, our strength, our courage. The contributions that everyone here, you have no idea what people in this room have contributed. All over the country. And guess what? We're all here in Palm Springs. We're not in Podunk, Illinois. We're here in Palm Springs because we know it is a safe, welcoming place for people who are HIV positive. Thank you.
if anyone participating via Zoom would like to speak, please use the hand raise function to let me know, and I will call on you. It's already pressed. Please state your name.
Good evening, members of the Public Arts Commission, City of Palm Springs, California. My name is Francisco J. Urbina. I have over 30 years of city and regional planning experience, including with controversial projects. I worked in the city of Palm Desert from 2002 to 2007. And I'm going to be moving to Palm Springs next year because I have a home in for 22 years in Murrieta Hot Springs, but Southwest Riverside County, namely the city of Temecula, has become very racist, anti-gay, et cetera, et cetera. Let me share with you some experience when the city of Palm Desert, California was updating its general plan, and there were thousands of acres of vacant land up north that was raw desert to going all the way to the railroad and Interstate 10. Based on what I've heard here tonight, there is opposition to, I don't know if it was approved or whatever, but if it's an art piece, it's an art piece, but an art piece doesn't necessarily mean it is a memorial. What I would suggest is that this project be continued or the council rescinded, and that there be a town hall meeting that is well advertised, inviting everyone in the community, especially the Rainbow Coalition. I have a nephew who is gay and a niece in northwestern California, where I grew up in Humboldt County, that is gay, a very racist redneck area in Humboldt County. I told her, Mija, which means sweetheart, after you complete your associate arts degree from College of Redwoods, I will be happy to write a letter of recommendation for you to transfer to a university in Southern California. My background includes an associate arts degree in general education, graduated in June 1980, College of Redwoods, transferred to Cal Pomona for urban planning, and graduated in June 1984. Went straight on to graduate school, could have gone to UC Berkeley, UCLA, but I was accepted at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the oldest city planning program in the world, continuously accredited by the American Planning Association. Anyway, the point when Palm Desert was updating its general plan, there were some council members that wanted to certify the final EIR and the general plan. However, Democratic council member June Benson, God bless her soul, said the city of Palm Desert did not become the gem, one of the gems that it is, the Palm Springs region, another one overnight. I vote to continue it, and the majority 32 said this general plan is too important enough to rush things. And I agree that this controversial project is too important to rush it. It needs to be continued, blah, 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 town hall meeting, well publicized, so the members of the Gay, Lesbian, Rainbow Coalition can comment on it. Thank you.
Are there any speakers on Zoom call who would like to make comments?
My comments will be pretty quick. My name is Bill LaMarche. I am a resident of Palm Springs. I lost my partner in 1995 from AIDS. And I just want to tell you, Gary Armstrong, that I believe that your reasons for accepting this, that it was donated, which is of course a good thing, it saves the taxpayers money. The fact that it was publicized in the Sun and on Facebook and on the Desert Post, well, Palm Springs Post, I think that's okay. But, and I also think that if we have this decision for public discussion, as a lot of the people here have said, it would be messy. Because if you look at the people that are here, you look at the people that are, you think of the people that are on Zoom, they're not all gonna share the same opinion. And I realize that the decision would be very messy if it was left up to trying to have a consensus of the people that really care about this AIDS memorial. I would like to say though, that sometime, and so this, accepting this because it didn't cost any money and you did these things, putting it in the paper and things like that. That's really the easy way out. And I think that what this council is doing is just trying to take the easy way out. It's free, it's easy, but it's not to the heart. And I think that the idea of a donut can have some very negative sexual connotations to a homophobic person to have something like that as a memorial to AIDS. So thank you for your time.
David Kesey on Zoom. David, please unmute and make your comments. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I wanted to thank you all for having this discussion. I have been HIV positive for over 32 years. I've worked in the AIDS field, AMFAR, American Foundation for AIDS Research, with Elizabeth Taylor, Dr. Krem, Elizabeth Glazer. I've gone through the early stages of losing friends in the 80s when families would disown their children because they were dying of AIDS. They didn't want anything to do with them. And to have an artist who creates something like this just doesn't represent the community who has lost thousands of friends, partners. And I would like to see more community input. The artist might want to get into the stories of people behind the curtain that he has not touched yet, because his current artwork does not reflect the heartache, the murders, the suicides that we all had to go through in this horrible epidemic. And I just wanted to express my views because this is very dear to me. I've lost over 100 friends and 4 partners. So this art piece does not reflect the heartache, the death, and the toll it has taken on the nurses, the doctors, everyone involved. So please think of that when you reconstruct your vision of this art piece. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, there was one more comment submitted by a person who could not attend. If I may just read the comment. This is from Lynn Thompson, Public Arts Commission members. I have served on governance teams and worked with the California Public Advisory Commission across our state for the last 20 years and was very disappointed at the lack of specificity regarding input on the proposed AIDS memorial. The fact that so many of us were not even aware the city had proposed such a memorial demonstrates a need to consider new forms of communication within our community. Since your commission is using art to unify our community, consider new and creative ways to communicate across Greater Palm Springs. Inclusivity matters. Secondly, the fact that design was so inappropriate for such an important memorial and was unanimously adopted by the commission implies that you need a protocol to ensure more divergent perspectives. I cannot understand how no one on this commission objected to the initial design. Please consider the following recommendations. At your October 18th meeting, publicize the dates and processes in which community members can share input before the design returns to the city council. Clarify what specific input and task force And, I'm sorry. Task force / artist is using in the new renderings. Is it a completely new design? Are you considering new artists? Further, use the October 18th meeting to clarify what you heard as a commission from the public outcry on the proposed memorial. For many of us, not only was it inappropriate, it was offensive. 3, use the feedback as an opportunity to establish stronger bonds with the community. Do not react or get defensive in your messaging. We want to work with you on this significant project and volunteer / assist with new community projects. But one of the lessons we learned from the government's refusal to listen to the LGBTQ+ community was that we have strength in joining together and strongly advocate for our voices to be heard. Demonstrate now that you hear us. Lynn Thompson.
Are there any other comments, Chair?
No other comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I would just like to follow up in response to a statement one of the gentlemen made, and the point wasn't that we accepted it because it was a gift. My feedback was in response to comments that were on the Facebook group, which is a private Facebook group, so unless you're a member, you can't read them. And it was that they should take the money and give it to another artist. And the point is, this is a task force who was raising the money for a specific artist for a specific piece. This is not city money. It's not fungible, as I said in my opening statement. We cannot move this money to another artist. We cannot do a call for artists because this is not a city project. We did not commission this. So there's two different things happening here. We cannot take.
It's not accurate. Public funds and public land involved.
We did not commission this piece of art.
There's public funds and public land involved.
What if we don't want it? What if we don't want the gift?
What if we don't want
What if we
the?
don't want the gift? How
Well-
about giving it to the art museum where it belongs?
Okay,
Put
so
it in front of DAP Health.
Give it back. Give it back.
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, this item is not agendized for discussion tonight.
You post one
It's
comment.
a one-way discussion.
Yes, it's a one-way discussion.
When can we have a real dialogue?
I have let the task force people know.
Why won't they speak to us?
Why won't they speak?
I cannot
Where's
speak
the
for the task.
chair?
I cannot speak for the task force.
He propped up the artist to make a public apology rather than sitting in that chair and apologizing himself.
They refused to speak.
Again, I am not on the task force. I do not speak on behalf of the task force.
It's about the task force.
Gary, we just want a dialogue.
Then again, I will reach out and let the task force know, but we do not have anything to do with the task force.
Can I ask a question, please?
Again, this is not an agenda item, so
Go ahead and
Just
ask.
one question. If we.
I'll give it to you because I like your shirt.
Thank you. That's why I wore it. If we're forced to go under another 501c3 and do this ourselves as a community, will you help as council art members us do this? We're not against them giving that as a gift. We're all against them using that as a remembrance to all of our grief from HIV/AIDS.
As I said in my comments. As I said in my comments, that we are welcome all sorts of opportunities for this. So,
Can you repeat that?
as I said at the beginning, in my comments, we welcome many, many opportunities, and you bring an idea to us and we will give feedback.
When will we know if this actual design is out, like vetoed out of curiosity?
When will we see it?
As I said in my comments, when I see it, it will be on an agenda for the Arts Commission.
And then we
The
can-
previous design is dead. It's not happening.
And anything similar to a donut?
It's not happening. Nothing is happening.
But
So-
coming up with another revision.
It's not my responsibility. It is the
without
task
public
force.
dialogue,
That is the
high
task
risk.
force. Okay, Jay, I think we're done with this.
Thank you for
Yes.
hearing all of us.
Yes.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I do want to close and say, this project aside, I think the dialogue is very important, and I think that the emotion and the personal stories are key, not only for the commission to hear on this specific project, but on every project.
Yes.
And I'm being sincere when I say, I really wish you would be more involved with the Arts Commission. Come to the meetings, give us feedback, not just on AIDS and memorials, on everything. Again, This was started 2 years ago. So give feedback.
When's that next meeting? Through this, through one coming up.
So when they launch it, you'll have another meeting and we can all be at that.
It will be promoted, trust me.
As well as the airport.
I'm not on the airport commission. I can't speak to that.
The
Okay.
airport has a public. Forum, but this didn't, it's just insane.
Okay,
Fundraisers are not dialogue.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stick around while we discuss inventory and utility boxes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, remarks from the vice chair.
No further comments other than to just thank everyone for your comments this evening.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. We have approval of the minutes from the meetings of January 18th, 2023, February 15th, 2023, March 15th, 2023, April 19th, 2023, May 3rd, 2023, and June 14th, 2023. Is there any questions about those minutes? Any concerns?
I do have a concern about one of the minutes, and I'm not sure if it was brought to Chris's attention, because I just sent it to you. I just want to make sure that that the commission knows what's going on, because it's a little bit in these particular minutes. Chris reached out and saying that he was doing something for the airport, and then he came across these minutes of something that we've already done for the airport. So I'm just wondering if it's something an additional or if it's something that he's already working on. Just to alleviate the mistakes that we've made before in the past.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Fogo. I am just seeing this right now, so I think as most of us are coming on to this with previous minutes that happened in the past, I think it's a very important comment that we should be able to communicate and streamline whatever process we are working on. There are some items that we will talk about later tonight regarding the airport, so would love your feedback. And again, there should have been a deck that has been sent around. If not, I'm sure Jay can send it out this week. But opening up the kind of communication between all of us here, so we know and are completely transparent about what's going on and what projects that we're working on. So I'm sure we can cover that. But thank you for your comments.
And how was that with minutes? Did I miss something?
It looks like, so let's see, it looks like you sent these. Are these today's minutes?
No, you see on the top, it's the minutes that we are approving tonight. Those are the past minutes.
Yes, so item H, and so what is your question?
My question is has this project, this has been approved? And I'm just wondering if your project is in addition to this.
Oh, so you're questioning the airport mural that we are approved like 6 months ago?
No, I'm not questioning it. I'm just asking if what he's doing is in addition to. I just want to make sure that he is not doing the same thing over, that we're not having a commissioner work on something that's already been done.
Commissioner Pavot, please use your microphone.
Yeah, that was what I was calling to attention, to make sure that he's seen this. There's a template, there's a precedent. So I'm calling it to attention because there's a lot of stuff on the airport agenda.
Yeah.
So I would like to call it to attention because that's something he's working on.
Got it.
And to let you know what's going on, I just wanted to call, hey, did you see this in these minutes? And this may help you on your upcoming project, because I'm not sure if it's the same project they're working.
Understood. Okay.
So I'm not questioning, but I would I would be able to do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everything that we'll be working on is new, but yeah, I appreciate these comments.
So it just helps you along, so you know what, I'm just trying to give
And I think,
information.
I think this is a perfect time to also, whatever project that we are working on.
Well, we need to stay on the agenda though.
Right, and so just to close out.
It is on the agenda.
No, but approval of the minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure he saw those minutes, so he knows what's cause he's new.
Yeah,
And this is the same problem I had when I was a commissioner, that this information wasn't getting out. I talked to you about it being a problem.
Yeah.
This is a new commission. We have the power to communicate now. That's all I'm doing is making sure my new commissioners know what is done in the past and calling it to their attention. So we don't have people coming in, and even though you said the project is not going to be going on, that they still, I just wanna make it clear.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of those dates? Unless there are changes to be made on the minutes.
I will make a motion to approve these minutes.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Shelton, will you be voting on this one?
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Item I, public hearing. This is a continuation of the resolution for the Public Arts Commission of the City of Palm Springs, approving an art mural application for whimsical mid-century Palm Springs from Canyon Fund LLC. And we discussed this last month.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. If we could open the public hearing and continue this item to a date uncertain. We are awaiting the revised artwork to come from the artist.
Okay,
We don't have a fixed deadline on when that would be.
okay, so we'll just continue this open and move on to the next item.
Yes, thank you.
Correct. Great. J, items for discussion and approval.
If we could vote on that, please.
Oh, okay, but it's still open, isn't it?
To continue it.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to continue the opening of this mural item. Okay. Any second? A second.
I second.
All in
Thank you
favor?
all.
Aye, okay. Okay. Items for discussion approval. J1, inventory of art.
No real updates to share on that. I just, unfortunately did not have a lot of chance this past month to assemble the inventory list, but Commissioner Favo and I have talked about meeting to go over that list and look at some of the pieces in the collection. I'm happy to take feedback or questions about this initiative now if commissioners have thoughts or questions.
2 points I want to raise, and one is if you and Commissioner Favo think it's important for us to hire somebody to do a full and accurate inventory and assessment of the work from a technical perspective. Any work that it needs to be recited due to environmental reasons or needs to be refurbished and is just not in proper placement based on the sun. You can come back to the commission and make that recommendation. We will then put it out for a call and get bids in, and then we will vote on that person to do that. The one point that I want to raise, and I mentioned this very quickly in an email, is that there's been a call for us to do more interactive signage on all the pieces, where we do QR codes on the signs. And then we have each sign where the people go up, do a QR code, and it takes them not only to background on the individual artist, as part from the title, but it will then guide them to other surrounding pieces, maybe in a similar style, similar era, and then we can create art walks through it. That's a lot more complicated, because then what you need to do is have a host site of all the work, but it's a direction we need to go as a commission and as a city. And I think, again, that's the sort of thing where if you come back and say, this is the direction we want to head, this is how we want it to be user interfaced, then we will again put that out to bid, get somebody to come back and do all the work for us. We're not expected to do all that coding as a commission.
If I'm not, I feel like that has been brought up before. There was something about it in the minutes, so was.
I asked that, I think we did discuss it at one point, I believe former Commissioner Lesniak and.
Yeah, we had talked about creating like an app that would have self-guided art walks around town, and it did prove to be sort of an overwhelming project for a volunteer commission to move forward with. But I think once we get the inventory settled, I think that's the prime opportunity to discuss how we want to promote the visibility of the collection.
And beyond the art walk component, you need the QR code, so that's that interface on every piece of artwork as well.
Okay, I'm not, the information that I know is that there's geo tracking and there's like from what I understand, if we have a piece already, we can just go, everybody in the world can go onto the phone and like say where that piece is.
Mhm.
So is there a way that we could do something along those lines, like maybe a call to action that
Sure.
people go out and look for public art? And that will also help us to track locations where stuff is if they tag and mark. I'm not sure who has access to our Instagram that we could help us in that way, so we're getting people involved.
Mhm.
As well as creating a solution.
Right, so this is how I think of it, is if you have a website, the Instagram, right?
Uh-huh.
That's almost like an encyclopedia.
Mhm.
It's just a book of pictures in a way. And then you have the geotagging, which is a map overlay of all the pictures. It tells you where it is and you can look at it and, you know, but then you need, again, the access points to bring them in. So if we have the John Clement sculptures in Demuth Park and they go up and do the little QR code, oh, John Clement, here's the history of him, here's the history of these pieces, where they used to be in Palm Springs. And then it will drive you to other pieces on that interface as
Okay,
well.
and I think where we're missing each other is that I feel technology has gone past QR codes. I feel like now our phones can actually look at a piece, take a picture of it, you can flip it up and it'll tell you what it is, where it's located. So I think there needs to be a bigger discussion, because I think that technology, I think we're missing each other. There may be an easier way that we'll be able to accomplish this as a commission.
Great.
That's all I'm
Great.
saying.
Find it. I will
just
tell you,
saying,
and I know
yeah.
the thing with where you can look at it, you do the information on the photo, that we can't control how it's described, though. We can't control the content of the imagery. So that's basically crowdsourcing. When you look at your photo and it has the information, it will say, here's what the plant is, or it's a dog, or whatever your photos are. We want to control the messaging.
Yeah, we want to be able to provide a certain level of
Yeah.
context
But
and history.
look into it. I'm just
Okay.
saying, if you guys come up with a better
But-
QR code, great.
Yes, we can certainly discuss, all the technology.
Yeah, like unless
options.
it's a native platform or some sort of app that's already built. So I know the Visit Greater Palm Springs group, they actually have an art walk with a bunch of these kind of geolocated. So that could be one way to at least start from a source. But I mean, I love the whole idea of what you're saying, that technology where you can have an AR, but again, we need some platform, I think. But, you know, if there is Instagram geotagging, if there is more where we need to control it, I think, you know, we do need a starting point in the larger conversation. Is it, you know, the physical geo or the physical QR codes, which could be, you know, like a laser cut, which could then access some other website or landing page, and then you can hit an Instagram, you can watch a video about it or whatever. But I do think it is a better conversation that we do need to have.
And I like the laser cut from that idea, because that's the thing that hindered us before, was how to execute it without it being changed in some way, shape or form. So there's a solution.
You know, the value of
That's just out of that.
The value of the
conversation.
QR code is it sort of is an invitation to people to say, oh, there's more information here. And we can't assume everybody knows to look at your phone and, you know, do the
Swipe
digging,
up.
do it on it. And I do know different phones have, like, the Apple phones have different
Right?
system than the you know.
Could be a larger conversation.
Yeah, but it
And
seems to me.
this is something that lots of other cities have already
Exactly.
explored, so there
Yeah.
are examples that we can look to.
Yeah, we're not the only one that is having this challenge, so.
I'm
Okay.
glad we have company in that,
Okay, so,
there's a solution.
so hopefully we'll be able to have further discussion at the next meeting. Great. Okay.
Thank you, Barrett.
Next one, acceptance of a gift, the Red Dragon sculpture from Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Association. Jay, can you pull this up on screen? Okay, and Barrett, I'll let you discuss this because you started it.
Sure. Just pull up the packet here. So this was a piece that the Old Las Palmas neighborhood went out and sourced with the artist using $5,000 from our community neighborhood art grant program and then fundraise for the rest of it. And this was first presented to the commission at some point last year, maybe about a year ago now. And the idea is that it's going to be the first in a series of these sort of abstract animal sculptures along this boulevard in the neighborhood. And I will just say too that we've been big fans of the Neighborhoods Initiative and the whimsical designs that they've gravitated towards. And are very graciously excited about the gift.
So, and some technical background or how I spent my summer. This started as a neighborhood grant. And we gave them $5,000 to pursue this opportunity. And then they went out and raised the balance of the funds themselves from their neighborhood association. They then back and forth, and they decided the best way for them to do this, which they didn't know they were supposed to do, is to gift it to the city so it becomes part of the city's collection. It was just an easier way for them to get permitting to put it where they wanted to put it, rather than have it be private art that they were putting on public land. And since it's all being funded by the community, it's always going to stay there. So they have this one piece, it's installed and ready to go. And so next steps are we accept it as a gift and recommend to council that they accept. Now, council has accepted the money that we already gave them, the $5,000. So that's already in their hands. Once this happens, they're going to come back to us because they want to find ways to do the rest of them. And that's for further discussion. And I'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. Okay, so right now we're just focused on this one piece. And do we want to accept this into our collection? So.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I have a question about that. So, is the neighborhood putting their own pad down, or how is it being displayed and installed?
The neighborhood is handling installation.
Okay, and is it lit?
Yes.
Okay, and that's all, but then approved and everything else.
Yeah.
And then, so it just becomes, after the donation, it becomes part of our maintenance schedule.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really it, is we just have to clean it every couple of years. But the artist is a gentleman who did Jungle Red, which is the metal sculpture in Warm Sands, the red one.
Mm-hmm.
And so he uses automotive paint, and he's well aware, and he lives in Desert Hot Springs.
Yeah,
So
I know.
he's well aware of the types of materials needed for Palm Springs. Okay. Are there any other questions on this?
Yeah, I just wanna, and and this community, and has it been publicized that the community has done this and that we won't, someone won't come back and say that this is offensive or. I just wanna make sure that like the name Dragon won't get any conversations with any other communities.
No.
I just wanna cross our eyes and dot our T's.
This is within Old Las Palmas on the median, and I was at a meeting where they unveiled it with the entire community, and Councilman DeHart, that's his district. So he's behind this and well aware of it. So
Okay.
we're good to go, Sean. But I
Okay, so making sure
appreciate,
there's no backlash.
I appreciate that.
Cause I wanna make sure everyone's happy with
yeah.
public art.
And
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the gift of the red dragon sculpture from the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Association.
second, Sean,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And as I said, I think that with this and the Demuth Art in the Park, these are two wonderful examples of how we've engaged communities to create art completely different ways. Obviously, Old Las Palmas has a beautification committee in their neighborhood, and they were the ones who handled it. Not every committee or community has a beautification committee. Demuth Park handled it completely differently. So this is a nice attribute on opposite ends of the spectrum of involvement as well. Okay. Next is the Park Art Grant Program discussion and options for artwork that create shade. We talked about this in the last meeting. Oh, you weren't here, but that's okay. And we want to do substantial pieces of art in the parks. And some of the discussions I've had and some of the works we've done have been much more culturally meaning, like the pillars is cultural and humanities based. And I said the shade ones around because obviously there's a need for shade in our public parks. But the point I wanted to make is not all art needs to have cultural meaning. Sometimes art can just be fun and pretty and make people smile when they see it. And one of the roles of the Arts Commission is the beautification of the city. So I just wanted to put that out there, that as we do things, and Commissioner Favreau immediately answered me, she said, I want to do flowers. And if you don't know, a lot of the work she has done has involved these big, beautiful flowers. And I mean, that looked pretty amazing, right? If you just had 6 or 7 of these big flowers that were shade structures spread throughout James O'Jesse Community Center area, that'd be kind of fun, and that would be doable. We could do that for the grant money. So a concept like that would be interesting as well. So we don't need to be focused on just social messaging. While that's important, it's a balance as well.
I have a quick question. Sorry, this is Melissa. So seeing as how there was a lot of community opinion about this AIDS project, considering the parks and thinking of James O'Jesse, do we step into that community and ask them what they would like, or how does that work? How do we engage them in the artworks that we're choosing to put in the parks in their neighborhoods?
Oh, absolutely. And that was, I think in my initial write-up, is that we would work with the parks and figure out what they want. Because as I said, every park has a unique identity. Demuth Park is very, very family oriented and sports team oriented and activity, whereas Francis Stevens is not. James O'Jesse is much more, it's activity oriented, but it's community gathering place, really. It is a true community center. And Victoria Park is really an extension of the school right there. So again, it's everyone has a different feel to it. So I think that every commissioner, before you propose something, you should talk to the people in the community. And then if we get to that point where we have a couple of ideas, we then go to the community meeting. I've been invited to the Aquas River Estates Neighborhood Association organization meeting in November to talk about their project. So we absolutely should always be engaging with the community.
Great, thank you.
And also, Melissa, the James O'Jesse, the Desert Highland Gateway Estates Community has a neighborhood meeting every month.
Yeah.
It falls on the same day as 1 PS. They're in tandem. So the next meeting that comes up, I'll be more than happy to let you know. Because from the experience that I have with the community, they want to see what is available and what's possible, and also have some ideas, and then have a dialogue and discussion of what the community, what would best and be appropriate for the community.
Yeah.
Like all communities.
Yeah. And so Melissa, the way we would handle it, so let's say theoretically, you and Commissioner Favreau came up with an idea for James O'Jesse Community Center. So you guys would come, create the idea, pitch it to the commission as a brainstorming component, sort of just workshop it. We then say, yeah, that's interesting. Why don't you pursue that? And then you would go to the community meeting and then get their feedback, and then go to the Parks Commission, because it's their land. They're responsible for it. And then depending on the messaging, maybe it involves the Human Rights Commission. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it involves sustainability. Maybe you want to do something that's all, wind-based or solar or something like that. A Sustainability Commission wants to get involved.
Okay, great. Thank you both. That was helpful.
Yeah. Okay. And again, these programs will not happen and get approved like in 2 months. These should be long programs that we are dealing with and engaging the community.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else want to make any comments about the Park Art Grant Program?
Yeah, I do, sorry.
Okay, that's good.
So, because this is the first time that you've added, we're talking about creating a shade structure.
Yeah.
Last time we had talked, we talked about the city saying, yeah, they wanted to have art in all of the parks.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked away from that thinking, okay, that's pretty open in terms of what can be submitted. And then we had another chat about maybe having it somewhat not more interactive in the sense that you could kind of walk within that art. So I don't know if that it has the guidelines changed, or is it all of it?
All of it.
Okay,
I just, as I said, I saw the shade structures.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, those are kind of fun. We should consider something
Yeah.
like that.
No, I
And
like
maybe
that.
we do two in one park. There, we don't, it's, you know, we're not just giving one gift to each area. But my point with the shade structures was sometimes your art can be utilitarian.
Mhm.
And
Right.
sometimes it should just be fun and bright.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be
They
good.
could be interactive too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it'd be great, you know, like just these big flowers in the middle of some of the fields would be amazing.
And forgive me, was there a number attached to this amount, or is it just however,
I originally discussed 50,000 per park. So if we come up with two great ideas for a park, maybe one's 20,000, one's 30,000, or maybe they work together. I don't know. You know, we're talking in hypotheticals here. Any other questions on that? No? Great, okay. J4, new utility equipment impact on utility box project. We got a little surprise when, Commissioner Febo was working on utility box program, which there's, I don't know, how many of them, Shonda, 40?
yeah,
35?
approximately.
Yeah. Throughout the city, and some really stunning pieces of artwork, and then all of a sudden, new equipment went on them, like that, right there. And engineering, there's a picture of Lucille Ball under there.
Oh, geez, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and engineering didn't tell us that this equipment was happening. These were done at traffic lights, and there are 5 more, I believe, that are impacted by this. And so, what we're going to do is contact each artist and let them know this is happening. They can choose, depending on how their design is affected, they can choose to leave it, or we will paint over it and just leave it blank. Something like that one doesn't really affect it that much visually. It's not as great, but it's not as offensive as covering over Lucy's face on a Lucy box, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about this. This is the challenge of working with other instrumental departments in the city.
Couldn't the artist decide if he or she wants to combine that with the previous artwork?
No,
No?
it gets overheated, and that's.
Oh,
Oh,
you're saying they can't paint over the
Yeah.
addition?
yeah, I was thinking, well.
Yeah.
Continue with art.
So,
Yeah.
and you know, it's honestly, it's kind of a clunky shape anyway.
But Gary,
Yeah.
this is news to me that this box can't be painted over.
So, we were told it could not be painted over.
Is that true? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I was told.
We can confirm, but let's take a look at some of these other slides, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll get a better sense. I thought there might have been one that was painted, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, yeah.
That's the most offensive one. So, and again, this is the challenge of working with utilities in the city. You know, they do upgrades and we're not being informed. They don't even tell us they're doing it until it's done.
Yeah, from when I started this project, they said that they were going to do this, the pandemic happened, they were understaffed, they didn't do that. I tried to find out what boxes they were
Yeah.
gonna do, I told them what boxes I was gonna do. They said those boxes aren't gonna be impacted, and then I found out those boxes were the exact ones that were
Yeah.
impacted.
It's unfortunate. It's, you know, as I said, they're fun. People like them. This is what happens. So,
So, so that it definitely boils down to whether if it's true, if this box on the outside can be painted, because this particular box, it looks like it's just a metal cabinet with no painting or anything on it, there's no color coding on that.
Yeah, I'm not aware what the material is or the.
Yeah.
Outside is, it It does look like just a metal cabinet though.
Right, just like the utility boxes as itself, so I just wanna make sure, is this something that this particular artist was really hurt by this? And refused to do art again here because of it. So, this particular box would have to be commissioned to be painted over, or if there's another artist that can do something to the box on the outside. When, the box, no matter what size, I was told that if we pursued with painting over these little boxes, then these little boxes would have to be $500 also. Instead of the half box price, amount that I was asking for. So to alleviate this and the small boxes. So my question is to the commission, is this a project that would like to be continued? Because I feel like someone else.
Yeah, well, I think that's exactly the question is, Jay, you need to find out if they can be painted, and then we as a commission decide if we want to pay and continue the project to handle it that way, or do we just want to sort of clean it up and engage the artists that had their work changed in some other manner.
Yeah, we'll find that out.
Yeah, excuse me.
I guess the difference is these are backup battery boxes, so they may tend to get hot. I'm not exactly sure, although they're, you know, you can touch them if you're walking on the sidewalk, so I'm not sure exactly how hot they would get.
Okay. If you could just let us know the technical parameters.
Are all the artists aware of what's happened to their pieces?
They found out the hard way, just like we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say at a minimum, we should give them the option to adjust the work with the change.
Yeah,
that's what I think I think some of them will be able to adjust it.
I think so too.
I mean, if you cannot paint the box, then I think it'd be a problem.
but you can't,
Yeah,
if
we
you
should
can't paint
confirm
that,
that first.
then it's, you know,
You
there was a couple more that were,
can paint it.
we need to find out before we.
I mean, if it can be painted, it can be done. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, but let's find out if they may not want to. They may not want us to.
Yeah, we'll have to get direction.
Yeah.
From the engineering.
Find out and then.
Maybe future changes, maybe they're gonna put even smaller boxes on them we don't know about, so this is the life of beautiful utilities.
Okay.
Also, if they say that this cannot be painted, is it possible a sticker or something can be put on it, depending if it's a heat resistant or something along those lines? Like, what are other solutions that they can also come with that can be done, and it's just not like, oh, well, the box is on there, we can't do anything, just paint them solid.
Sure, we can explore that.
Thank you.
Stickers. I would think stickers are a little thicker than the paint would be, but we can explore.
Okay. Couple minutes left and we'll be done. Airport mural art relocation. Over to you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chair Armstrong. So, airport mural, you should have received, an internal PSP deck, again, I think, Jake can forward it through, but, currently we have 7 mural submissions that were sourced locally. And definitely open to, more of these submissions, but inside that deck, you'll also find, I think on the second part of the art relocation, which is something that a few of us are, I think, gonna be working on together, is a roster of also new art and new artists that are local and international, that can also, we can have for this roster. But in regards to the mural, would love to get, you know, some last and final input and also try to push this through, because the next part of the process would be then going to the airport commission, getting their approval as well. So, if we can take a look at that deck, and then perhaps by November, the next meeting, we can make a decision on that and go from there.
If necessary, if you get it, if needed, we could call a quick special meeting to vote. Be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it can be presented to the airport commission meeting, because their meeting is the same time as ours every month.
Okay.
And then you could skip out during that to present it at that point.
Okay.
Just as an aside, it needs to go to airport staff first and then the commission.
Cool.
And then council.
Got it, and special meeting, would that be something that we can do relatively soon, say before?
If you get them, we can, the way we could handle it is if you get all the designs. Jay can send them around prior to the meeting and we can call a special meeting where we, as a commission, decide which one we like and we talk and we vote and then we can do it and it can be done. And I know we can do this because we did it for the stadium mural with Kat's mural. And apparently that's not happening anymore. So Kat did a great mural for us representing Palm Springs and it's not happening. So.
Is that the one that we just approved in the minutes, or is that something different?
Remember the one with, it was a vertical and there were girls in a pool and there was the gondola above.
For the arena, we had
Oh,
multiple
for that,
discussions
yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was a fake Marilyn, but she had blue hair.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, that mural's not happening, even though we rushed to get it done and did a special meeting, it's not happening.
Okay, so in those minutes for that airport one, the blue haired lady, that one is still happening?
No, you're thinking the airport mural was financially was approved, but no designs were done, that's what Chris is doing.
Okay, so that's what I was called, I was under the impression that that minutes that we was the airport mural.
Probably was.
Okay.
That's why I was
Okay.
questioning
Okay.
that early, and that's why I brought it to your attention,
Okay.
because it's a little confusing for me, because when I read it, I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, so let's,
That's perfect that we're talking about.
if you get all your designs together,
I think you have them on the screen, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
oh, okay,
so this is the proposal, you should all receive this.
Oh,
This is the location, section A and B, section A is the section that would be primarily painted, there is a water fountain in section B, so. There is no requirement to do section B, however, if the art did want to overflow into section B, it could, depending, that's what the artist wanted to do, the budget will stay the same though. That's, there should,
I think I loaded the wrong one.
Okay.
Yeah.
there should be one. Yeah, let's see.
That might get to just be the character, not the role.
It could be one of the most recent ones.
doesn't matter without looking at it, it's enough.
Okay, I'll have to send it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is it, well, then actually the sculpture relocation, I think we was gonna get together to talk about that. There are a few pieces there that need some new love and also some repositioning. So I think that's the next step, is to get together and really talk about the strategy.
Pillars of Palm Springs. All the artists are good to go. They're very, very excited. They're moving forward. I presented the overall winners and the artist backgrounds to the Human Rights Commission. When was that, Jay? Last week, I believe. Yeah, and the Human Rights Commission, I presented them because we brought them in at the beginning of the process, because this really what we're doing is representing the human rights of Palm Springs. And they were quite interested. They loved everything about it. I was not concerned, but they were just immediately enthusiastic over everyone. The most enthusiastic actually was their student. They have a student liaison. And they're actually getting another student liaison. And she loved them. She just went on and on how great they were. So that was great. One thing that came up though was I mentioned to them when I was talking to one of the artists, I said, you know, saying the Human Rights Commission, and he gave me an updated visual. And he said, I didn't even know Palm Springs had a Human Rights Commission. And I mentioned that to them. And they said, yeah, we need to get some PR out there. We need to do some things. And I said, well, you know, maybe there's a way, because we're putting these in April 15th, World Art Day. And I said, and we will have all the artists here for the unveiling. I said, maybe there's a way we do some sort of joint discussion with the Human Rights Commission and the Arts Commission on human rights and art or something that's sort of reflective, and maybe we do it with high school students, maybe we do something with local artists. Don't know quite what yet. As I said, it was just a talking point, but they were enthusiastically interested. So think about that. Maybe there's something we can do with them in April. I also met with Amy Blesdell, Chief Communications Officer for the city. She's going to be putting together a media plan for this to unveil it, and she wants to do a big unveiling of these again on World Art Day, April 15th. So if we sort of keep World Art Day as a flag for this, and we can structure other events around it, if we have other things that we'll be doing, we can sort of unveil them and make a big statement of public art on World Art Day in Palm Springs for April. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, of course.
Tom?
Okay, just for my own clarity. After we went through though, this process, did it not go to city council to vote on it or finalize it?
Pillars?
The pillars.
Oh, yeah, they approved it unanimously.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it went to them unanimously. They didn't even pull it from the consent calendar. They just said, great, do it. And I got emails from a couple of council members afterwards saying they're very excited about it. And so we're good to go.
So they've already approved all of the art?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on that?
Not on that, but, something that we've already approved, I'll just, let Jay know that there are 3 meeting minutes that my name is misspelled, and I'll just send those to you. So when I was looking at it, I didn't see it until now. Thank you.
Okay. Asphalt art. Asphalt art, I sent around, this was something we've been working on conceptually for a year, I guess. We approved the money, council approved the money, and we've had this budget sitting there. It's $20,000, I believe. And it is targeted to do James O. Jesse Community Center. There were 2 locations in the staff report, which I sent around. So this is an opportunity, if somebody wants to work on this. And if we decide we don't want to move forward with this as an assignment, we can then just kill the project as well. But I personally think that this is something that has value and we should test it out. It's sort of, there's challenges with utility boxes. There were the benches are interesting as well. The value to both of them is they gave us this whole other pool of artists that were younger artists, up and coming artists, non-traditional artists, lower income artists who could participate and create art in Palm Springs. I think if we did something with the asphalt art program, we could attract artists that same way. When we originally approved it, we thought, oh, we'll get 1 artist to do a crosswalk, but there's no reason we can't split that crosswalk and do 3 to 4 different artists doing one thematic thing.
Yeah, I really love this project, and even just reading a lot of the Bloomberg studies of how it does make a lot of pedestrian and cyclist safety and also reduces crashes in a lot of the studies that have done. I actually mentioned this to one of the sergeants at the PSPD, and we have conducted during the pandemic, like a kind of state of the city, and the community got to come out and talk about issues with the different districts and speeding and high traffic area and where there are crashes. And so they said that they'd be willing to share any data for any future locations that could potentially help. That might be problem zones. This does seem to have a big effect in the previous study, so I'd be happy to work on this.
Great. I have a hard time to conceptualize this. This will be an event.
No, it's basically murals on the street. So
Okay, permanent.
Permanent, as permanent as you can get on the street. So theoretically, depending on the material we use, there's a couple different ways to do it. They could be, some of them could last a year, some could last 5 years, depending on the material again. And it should be on the overview and pamphlet links that I sent you. So depending on the materials chosen would depend on the colors and how intricate the design can be. So they can be the thermo something. I forget what it's called. It's like a
plastic.
Yeah.
Or acrylic paint.
Yeah. Or just cement paint is a different one that are used. And Palm Springs has done painted murals on the crosswalks before, like in downtown, they would do Pride, they do the
And some
crosswalk.
artists will be selected to do this.
Yeah.
How much the community will be involved in it?
Same thing as the parks thing, they should be involved with everything.
Could they even paint with the artist?
They could, and that, so public arts funds need to go to an artist. So there needs to be an artist assigned to get the money.
And he decides if he wants the
And then
community
he could
involved.
do the design, he could work with the community to do the design,
Okay.
and then they could implement it as a community project. But one person needs to be getting the funds. We can't just give it to a community. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. So Commissioner Ramirez wants to work on that and spearhead it.
If anyone else would like to hop on board. Well,
Are you asking for more people to?
if anyone is interested, yeah, I think that'd be great. Let's.
I am.
Great. Jay, is there any report from the staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to remind commissioners that meeting via Zoom was a temporary situation, and it's possible December may be the last hybrid meeting we have. Starting in January 2024, meetings may be required to be in person. We are awaiting confirmation from our city attorney on what the process would be or what the requirements would be. Also want to let you know that several contracts have been executed. I believe we have Tyson Knight now on board to do some of the emergency repairs that have to get done.
And Jay, can you just, because you have so many new commissioners,
Yes.
how does that work? So we see a piece that has graffiti on it. What do they do then?
It just call it in to Anita. And she'll get quotes from one of the two art repair firms that we have on board and have an assignment for them, select probably the lowest or the most appropriate. Some art pieces may be much more delicate and then have the work performed.
And so what is Tyson? He was doing benches for us before as well, correct?
That's correct. And he did some work, I think, on popsicles, just to repair some graffiti damage that was there. So, you know, this does happen, and they're not on our list for signature sculpture to do regular maintenance on, so.
And so if we do see something wrong with a piece, we contact Anita. She will then decide if it goes to one of the repair people, or when we had penis spray painted on that one on Sunrise Park, and you just had the maintenance crew deal with that one?
Well, in some cases, yes, when it's like a hard metal, something like that, that seems like it could be cleaned without damage to the art piece.
Yeah.
If our facility staff feels comfortable removing the graffiti, they go on.
Okay, great. So Anita's your person, if you see pieces. Welcome, Anita.
Other contracts, I believe all the pillars contracts, maybe 5 of the 6 have been executed now, so.
Great. One just last comment before we adjourn is, a couple of the commissioners have asked if we do some sort of study session. Where, study session we can organize and we would publicly post it, but it would not be recorded. We can talk about opportunities like how to work with the Parks Department better, what we do in the parks, or how we handle certain things. Is there anyone who does not think we need to do that, or should we just send around some dates that are available moving forward, and if we work, we work? So. Okay. So I'll work with Jay and we'll figure out some times to do it. It may not be until November, December, just because of holiday travel and things. And to the new commissioners, this is time of year where Jay and Anita start getting crazy because you're doing end of year paperwork and stuff. Do you need to be there?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
We've done
Do you
similar
want to be
meetings.
there, Jen? That should be the
Yeah.
question.
Well, if you don't need to be there, that's easier to schedule.
If you don't need our assistance, and it's easier to schedule, but it's posted.
Yeah.
And publicly accessible, that can be your meeting.
So we can do it in a conference room here?
We could probably arrange that. We just have to make sure we can schedule a conference room.
And then in terms of like the agenda, it can be pretty general and just say study session, but then we can come in with topics or we can.
Oh, yeah.
Discuss topics beforehand.
Study session.
Yeah.
So we can address inventory and how to do QR code stuff.
But keeping in mind, without anything on the agenda except for study session, you will not be making any decisions.
Correct. Yeah.
Or spending money.
Understood. Does anyone else have any other comments you'd like to make before we adjourn? No. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Public Arts Commission will adjourn to a meeting on November 15th, 2023 at 5:30 PM. Can I make a second?
I'd like to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, guys and girls, ladies.
Thank you.